For decades, the Orion arm of the galaxy had been in chaos. Entire star systems were caught in the crossfire of a war so devastating that few outside the affected regions even knew it existed. Cities on distant planets were wiped out in moments, their people fleeing or perishing in ways that no human history on Earth could imagine. The conflict was brutal, far beyond the scope of any conflict that humans had ever experienced or even dreamed of. Yet Earth, home to an unsuspecting humanity, remained untouched, or at least it appeared so to the outside universe. No one on Earth knew the full scale of what was happening. Astronomers, scientists, and space agencies occasionally detected strange disturbances, unusual energy bursts, or unknown signals passing through the solar system. At first, these were dismissed as anomalies, glitches in instruments, or the natural turbulence of deep space. But over the years, some individuals noticed a pattern. Civilizations were disappearing. Fleets of unknown design moved across the Orion arm, leaving destruction in their wake. The galaxy was at war, and Earth had, until now, remained invisible. A silent observer. It all began to change when a small, automated reconnaissance craft 1, designed to drift silently between stars, picked up the faint signs of humanity's signals. The aliens who discovered it assumed it was nothing more than a primitive species, unaware that what they saw as primitive was actually a world quietly observing the galaxy. For thousands of years, humanity had been preparing for the day the universe might finally notice it. While other civilizations focused on conquest, Earth's leaders, scientists, and engineers worked in secrecy. They studied physics, space travel, and even the potential of war, not because they wanted to fight, but because they understood that knowledge would be the difference between survival and extinction. In the Orion arm, the war had reached a point where no one was safe. The Ravagers, a species feared across multiple star systems, had become relentless. They did not negotiate, they did not reason, and they did not leave survivors. Entire fleets vanished without a trace. Entire planets burned until their atmospheres glowed with unnatural heat. The Ravagers were efficient, terrifying, and unstoppable, except no one had considered that Earth might be ready. On Earth, life continued much as it always had. People went to work, children went to school, and families lived their lives. There was no outward sign that humanity had been watching the galaxy in secret, preparing quietly for decades. Scientists working in hidden observatories noted the destruction in distant star systems and shared findings with only a trusted few. They had long ago realized that if the Ravagers reached Earth unchallenged, humanity would not survive. The challenge, then, was to prepare without drawing attention. This meant that every research station, every hidden satellite, and every advanced facility had to operate in complete secrecy. There could be no leaks, no mistakes, and no hint to the galaxy that Earth was anything but ordinary. What set humanity apart was its patience. Unlike many civilizations that rushed to expand, Earth watched, learned, and waited. Leaders understood that survival depended not on immediate action, but on careful preparation. Engineers worked on spacecraft designs that could outmaneuver anything known in the galaxy. Scientists developed energy shields, stealth technology, and propulsion systems that could travel vast distances without being detected. Unlike other civilizations, Earth did not seek fame or recognition. Its goal was simple: survive long enough to defend itself. When the time came, the first real sign that the war might reach Earth was subtle but undeniable. A probe from a neighboring system, part of the Ravagers' vast network, drifted too close to the edge of the solar system. Its sensors picked up faint electromagnetic signals, Earth's radio transmissions, television broadcasts, and communications. The probe was programmed to report back, and for the first time, humanity's location was at risk of being discovered. Scientists monitoring the skies realized the danger immediately. If the Ravagers learned where Earth was, the entire planet could be destroyed in hours. Panic, however, was not an option. Decisions had to be calculated, precise, and careful. Earth's leaders convened in secret councils, discussing what no one outside the planet could ever know. They weighed the risks of revealing themselves, considered sending messages, and debated whether to launch a preemptive strike. Every choice carried consequences not just for the planet, but for the species as a whole. It was during these meetings that humanity's unique approach to survival became clear. Rather than rushing into battle, they would prepare to strike only when the time was right, ensuring that every move counted. Meanwhile, ordinary people on Earth remained unaware of the looming danger. Life continued with its usual mix of challenges and routines, completely disconnected from the cosmic war unfolding light years away. Farmers tended their fields, workers commuted to cities, and families gathered in their homes. Yet beneath the surface of this normalcy, incredible work was being done. Hidden in deserts, deep under oceans, and inside massive underground complexes, the foundations of what would become Earth's secret fleet were being laid. These were not ordinary ships. They were designed to survive battles that could annihilate entire star systems. They were cloaked, armored, and equipped with technology that would stun any enemy who underestimated humanity. As the days passed, the presence of the Ravagers became impossible to ignore. Reports from distant observation posts showed fleets moving with alarming speed, and energy signatures indicated weapons far more advanced than anything known to human science. The question was no longer whether Earth would be noticed, but when. Humanity had long predicted this moment, but predictions were one thing. Reality was far more immediate and pressing. The clock was ticking in classrooms, offices, and living rooms across the planet. Life carried on. Children laughed, adults worked, and cities pulsed with routine activity. Meanwhile, in hidden control rooms far from public view, the minds guiding humanity's defense worked tirelessly. Every calculation, every strategy, and every decision was made with the understanding that the future of the species rested on their ability to act with precision. And all of this preparation had one goal: to awaken Earth from its long-standing role as a silent observer to become a decisive player in the galaxy's most devastating war. When the first Ravager scouts crossed the edge of the solar system, Earth was ready. Not with a show of force for intimidation, but with the culmination of decades of study, engineering, and careful planning. Humanity had waited, watched, and learned. Now, the moment was approaching when the quiet observer would reveal itself as something entirely unexpected, a civilization capable of changing the course of the war. For centuries, humans had believed the stars were untouchable, distant, and indifferent. Now, with the shadow of the Ravagers looming over the solar system, they understood that the galaxy was not indifferent. It was alive, violent, and dangerous. And yet, humans had discovered something else along the way: patience, intelligence, and cooperation could become weapons just as powerful as fleets of STRSHIPS. As the Orion arm burned with battles, explosions, and fleeing populations, Earth remained calm on the surface. Beneath it, humanity's secret preparations were about to transform the planet from a hidden observer into an active force. The galaxy had not yet realized it, but the quietest world in the Orion arm would soon become the most important one. And when it did, nothing would ever be the same. For years, Earth had watched the galaxy in silence. While distant civilizations fought brutal wars and entire star systems were consumed by fire, humans had remained hidden, observing, learning, and preparing. They had understood long ago that survival depended not on immediate action, but on careful planning and patience. This secret watching was not the work of a single government or a single group. It was a coordinated effort involving thousands of minds across the planet, all working quietly and in absolute secrecy. Generations earlier, Earth's leaders had established what became known as Project Horizon. Its purpose was simple yet ambitious: to monitor the cosmos for signs of advanced civilizations, potential threats, and any unusual activity that might reach Earth. Unlike the rest of the galaxy, Earth had not rushed to colonize space or conquer new worlds. Instead, humanity focused inward, developing technology and strategies that could remain hidden while building strength in secret. People involved in Project Horizon understood that being unnoticed could be as powerful as being armed. Project Horizon's reach extended far beyond what any ordinary human could imagine. Deep space observatories, disguised satellites, and robotic probes were scattered across the solar system and beyond, each equipped with technology decades ahead of anything publicly known. These instruments scanned distant galaxies, analyzed energy patterns, and studied ships moving faster than light. Every data point was recorded and carefully analyzed by teams of scientists and engineers who had dedicated their lives to the protection of Earth. But even with all this preparation, the situation in the Orion Arm was alarming. The Ravagers were moving faster and more aggressively than anyone had predicted. Entire colonies were disappearing within hours, and no fleet in the galaxy seemed capable of stopping them. Reports collected by Project Horizon showed the destruction in detail: star systems with collapsed planets, energy signatures consistent with massive battles, and the unmistakable presence of fleets that were both relentless and incredibly well coordinated. The message was clear: if the Ravagers reached Earth unchallenged, humanity would face annihilation. Despite the threat, there was no panic among those working in the hidden facilities. Years of planning had prepared them for this moment. They knew that any mistake could be fatal, but they also understood that patience and precise action would give Earth an advantage no other civilization had. Leaders of Project Horizon held secret councils in underground bunkers, far from prying eyes and listening devices. These meetings were intense, filled with debates, calculations, and contingency plans. Every possible scenario was considered from the arrival of a single scout ship to the sudden appearance of a full Ravager fleet. The people involved in these operations were ordinary humans in extraordinary circumstances. They were scientists, engineers, and strategists who had spent decades perfecting the designs of spacecraft that the galaxy believed Earth could not possibly build. They were teachers, doctors, and technicians who worked tirelessly behind the scenes, ensuring that every system, every ship, and every weapon would function flawlessly if the day of reckoning arrived. These individuals were motivated not by glory or recognition, but by the simple, powerful instinct to protect their world and the people they loved. One of the most remarkable aspects of Earth's preparation was how hidden it remained. Across the galaxy, civilizations had long assumed that Earth was primitive, a minor planet with no significance. The truth was far different. Humanity had developed advanced propulsion systems, energy shields, and stealth technology capable of hiding entire fleets. Every spacecraft designed by Earth was a combination of speed, strength, and strategy. None of this technology had ever been tested in actual combat, yet the engineers and scientists were confident that it would provide a decisive advantage. Meanwhile, the public on Earth remained blissfully unaware. Life continued with its usual rhythm. Children played in parks, workers commuted to offices, farmers tended their fields, and families gathered in homes. News reports spoke of ordinary events, weather patterns, local politics, and scientific discoveries, but none hinted at the massive preparation occurring in secret. Humanity had perfected the art of appearing ordinary while secretly building extraordinary capabilities. As the Ravager's scouts moved closer to the solar system, the pressure on Project Horizon increased. Scientists monitored the energy patterns of the approaching fleets, trying to predict their paths and behaviors. Calculations were made to determine the exact point where the Ravagers would first encounter Earth's defenses. Every team member knew that the success or failure of the mission rested on their ability to act precisely, without error. Mistakes were not an option. The lives of billions depended on their decisions. Despite the growing tension, there was a sense of quiet determination among Earth's hidden operators. They knew that revealing their presence prematurely could provoke the Ravagers, yet hiding too long could leave the planet vulnerable. The balance between caution and action was delicate, and every move had to be deliberate. In this tension, humanity found a unique strength, the ability to wait for the perfect moment, to act with precision when the time was right, and to do so without losing sight of the ultimate goal: survival and protection of the home world. As the hidden fleets remained cloaked, engineers continued their work tirelessly. Ships were tested in simulations, weapon systems calibrated, and navigational protocols refined. Every detail mattered. A miscalculation in speed, a slight misalignment in weapon targeting, or a flaw in the shield design could mean disaster in the coming conflict. But the teams were meticulous. They worked long hours, often in isolation, driven by the knowledge that their efforts could be the difference between life and extinction for all of humanity. Communication within Project Horizon was carefully controlled. Only those who needed to know the full scope of operations were given access to sensitive information. Even among the hidden operators, knowledge was compartmentalized to prevent leaks. Messages were encrypted, locations of facilities disguised, and movements of personnel carefully coordinated. Humanity had learned a long time ago that secrecy could be as powerful a weapon as any fleet or weapon system. Despite the gravity of the situation, the people involved remained human in their approach. There were moments of doubt, fatigue, and fear. Some questioned whether the preparations were enough. Others worried about what it would mean to finally face a fleet as formidable as the Ravagers. Yet, even in those moments, there was a shared sense of purpose. Every human involved knew that they were part of something greater than themselves. They were protecting not just their own lives, but the lives of everyone on the planet. While Project Horizon coordinated preparations on a global scale, scientists continued to study the behavior of the Ravagers. Patterns in fleet movements were analyzed, strategies simulated, and potential weaknesses hypothesized. Earth's approach was different from that of other civilizations. Rather than rushing to confront the threat, humans sought to understand it, to anticipate it, and to prepare countermeasures that would exploit any advantage. This patience, combined with ingenuity, became one of humanity's greatest strengths. The hidden fleet itself was a marvel of engineering. Each ship was designed for a specific purpose, whether it was reconnaissance, defense, or offense. They were equipped with advanced stealth technology, capable of moving undetected through space. Energy shields were calibrated to withstand weapons far beyond anything previously encountered. Even the crews were trained rigorously, their skills honed in simulations that tested every possible scenario. The combination of technology, training, and strategy made Earth's hidden fleet a formidable force. Even against the most feared adversaries in the galaxy, as days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, the presence of the Ravagers became more undeniable. Reports from deep space probes indicated that the enemy was moving closer to the solar system with alarming speed. For the first time, the hidden operators realized that the moment they had prepared for decades was approaching. The quiet observation of the galaxy was coming to an end. Humanity was about to transition from silent watchers to active participants in a war that had devastated countless civilizations. And yet, even as the tension grew, there was a calm determination among those preparing for the inevitable confrontation. They had waited, they had learned, and they had built a hidden strength that the galaxy could not imagine. Now, as the shadows of the Ravagers drew near, humans were ready to reveal their true capabilities. The patience, intelligence, and cooperation that had defined Earth's approach for generations would soon be put to the ultimate test. When the day arrived, humanity would no longer be the quiet observer. The hidden fleet, meticulously prepared and technologically advanced, would rise from its concealment to protect the planet and its people. The galaxy had assumed Earth was weak, ordinary, and insignificant. They were about to discover the truth, that this hidden world had spent generations preparing for exactly this moment, and that when humanity acted, it would act with precision, courage, and unwavering determination. In this way, Earth's secret observers, quietly watching and preparing for decades, became more than mere witnesses to the galaxy's war. They became the architects of their own. The first signs of the Ravagers' approach were subtle but unmistakable. Deep space sensors, long calibrated to detect unusual activity, began to pick up high-energy movements in the outer reaches of the solar system. At first, the readings were almost impossible to interpret. Streams of energy pulsed in patterns, unlike anything Earth had encountered before, movements that suggested intelligence, strategy, and overwhelming power. Yet even in the face of these signals, humanity did not panic. The scientists and strategists who had dedicated decades to Project Horizon knew this moment would come, and they had prepared for it carefully. In secret command centers hidden under mountains, in the depths of deserts, and beneath oceans, teams of humans worked tirelessly. Each monitor displayed streams of data, charts of fleet movements, and projected energy signatures. Analysts compared the current readings to historical patterns, searching for weaknesses, timing their potential responses, and calculating the exact moment the enemy might reach critical zones of the solar system. Every individual understood the stakes. Failure was not an option. Billions of lives rested on their ability to act with precision and clarity. Meanwhile, ordinary life on Earth went on as usual. People continued with work, school, and family life, completely unaware that a threat beyond imagination was approaching their planet. Children played in parks, people commuted through cities, and life flowed in its familiar rhythms. It was this contrast that defined humanity's secret strength. While the galaxy assumed Earth was passive and weak, humans were preparing a response that would shock the universe. The Ravagers' scouts were the first to make contact. They were small, fast-moving vessels, capable of slipping through the outer solar system without detection by conventional instruments. These scouts did not communicate. They were observation tools designed to gather data and report back to the main fleet. Yet their presence triggered alarms in Earth's hidden command networks. Signals were detected that matched the patterns Project Horizon had been monitoring for decades. It was the moment the teams had anticipated. Earth's silence was about to be challenged. In the secret command rooms, every operator held their breath. Each screen displayed the incoming scouts' trajectories. Analysts ran rapid simulations, predicting potential encounters and evaluating defensive measures. Engineers double-checked readiness protocols for cloaked vessels, making sure that stealth systems would function flawlessly. Ships deep within hidden hangars were prepared to launch at a moment's notice, though they remained invisible to the approaching enemy. Every human involved understood the delicate balance between hiding and striking. Revealed too soon, and Earth could be destroyed before it had a chance to defend itself. Wait too long, and the scouts could alert the main Ravager fleet. Timing was everything. As the scouts moved closer, Project Horizon's analysts began to detect unusual behavior. The ships were examining the solar system with relentless precision, scanning energy patterns, gravitational fields, and the faint electromagnetic traces left by Earth's hidden satellites. It became clear that the Ravagers assumed Earth was just another insignificant world, one more target to destroy in their expansion. They did not expect resistance, nor did they anticipate that humanity had been quietly preparing for decades. Earth's leaders convened in secure underground facilities, reviewing the situation in real time. Decisions had to be made quickly, yet with extreme care. One false move could mean the end of civilization. They considered all options, from attempting communication to using stealth ships to intercept the scouts. Ultimately, they decided to maintain secrecy while carefully tracking the enemy, ensuring that Earth's true strength would remain hidden until the right moment. The goal was not to engage prematurely, but to strike with maximum impact when the time was right. Every human involved felt the weight of the moment. They had studied, trained, and prepared for years, but knowing that the enemy was so close brought a new level of urgency. Operators adjusted sensor arrays, recalibrated weapon systems, and coordinated with ships hidden in distant orbit. Engineers checked propulsion systems that had never been tested in combat. Scientists simulated defensive maneuvers at every level, from individual ship responses to large-scale fleet movements. Humanity had built an extraordinary arsenal, but it had never faced an actual battle. The fear of the unknown added tension, yet it also fueled determination. The scouts began to probe deeper into the outer planets, slipping past the orbits of Neptune and Uranus. They detected faint energy signatures consistent with concealed human vessels, but could not identify them precisely. Every move the scouts made was met with careful observation by Earth's hidden teams. Operators noted each turn, each energy burst, each slight deviation in course. It was a tense game of observation and calculation, and the humans had learned that even the smallest detail could determine the outcome of the coming conflict. Communication within Project Horizon became more intense. Messages were relayed at lightning speed between hidden facilities, all encrypted to prevent detection. Teams shared observations, compared analyses, and adjusted strategies in real time. There was a sense of quiet urgency, a shared understanding that the decisions they made now would affect the survival of the planet. Even in this high-stress environment, there was cooperation and trust. Each human involved knew that the stakes were too high for ego, mistakes, or hesitation. As the scouts approached the inner solar system, they began to send signals back to the Ravager fleet. Though the data they collected was incomplete, it confirmed that Earth was technologically advanced in ways the enemy had not anticipated. The scouts could not comprehend the scope of humanity's hidden strength. They interpreted the faint traces of advanced energy as anomalies, not realizing that they were observing a civilization that had spent decades perfecting stealth, strategy, and advanced weaponry. This miscalculation would soon prove to be critical. Despite the approaching threat, there were moments of calm and focus within Project Horizon. Teams rotated shifts, rested briefly, and maintained their concentration. Every detail mattered. Timing, precision, and coordination were essential. The human element, the ability to think, adapt, and anticipate, was as important as the technology itself. It was this combination of intelligence, preparation, and courage that gave Earth an advantage no other civilization had. As the day drew closer, when the scouts would likely detect more significant human activity, strategies were finalized. Ships remained cloaked, sensors recalibrated, and weapon systems stood ready. Humans had learned that patience and observation were as powerful as firepower. They had studied the enemy for years, understanding movement patterns, behavior, and weaknesses. Now, all that preparation would be tested under real conditions. The first contact, when it came, was subtle but charged with tension. One scout, moving slightly ahead of the others, detected the faint signature of a hidden human vessel. The crew on Earth, monitoring the encounter, noted every detail. The ship's systems were flawless, cloaking maintained, and no signal betrayed its position. The scout could not determine the size, strength, or capability of the hidden fleet. To the Ravagers, it seemed as though Earth remained a quiet, insignificant world. This illusion of weakness was humanity's greatest weapon. By remaining undetected, They preserved the element of surprise, which would become crucial in the battles to come. The human teams understood that the moment they revealed their presence, the consequences would be immediate and profound. Timing, coordination, and precision would determine the outcome. Every person involved felt the weight of responsibility, yet also a growing sense of readiness. They had trained for this moment. They had planned for it. And now, it was almost here. As the scouts retreated slightly, reporting back to the main Ravager fleet, Earth's teams observed and analyzed. The enemy believed they had gained valuable intelligence, yet they had seen only what humanity allowed. The hidden fleet remained invisible, its capabilities unknown. Humans had mastered the art of concealment, patience, and strategy. They had built a system where knowledge and preparation were more powerful than the raw strength of the enemy. The tension in the command centers was palpable. Every operator, analyst, and engineer knew that the next hours or days would set the stage for the future of Earth. They maintained vigilance, monitored the scouts, and prepared for the moment when humanity would transition from observation to action. This moment required calm, clarity, and confidence, the very qualities that had defined Earth's preparation for generations. In this critical phase, the human element was as essential as the technology. Teams worked together seamlessly, sharing observations, adjusting calculations, and supporting one another. The combination of advanced planning, technological innovation, and human intuition gave Earth an advantage the Ravagers could not anticipate. Every calculation, every decision, and every small action contributed to a larger strategy that had been years in the making. And so, as the Ravager scouts continued their slow, probing movements through the solar system, humanity remained ready. The world seemed peaceful, ordinary, and unprepared to any casual observer. Yet beneath this quiet surface, humans had built something extraordinary. They had developed a system of defense and observation, a hidden F. The moment had arrived. After decades of watching, learning, and preparing, humanity was finally ready to move from silent observation to decisive action. The first signs of the hidden fleet rising were subtle, almost imperceptible, but they carried a weight that the galaxy would soon feel. In the depths of orbit, behind the veils of cloaking and stealth, massive carriers, sleek destroyers, and advanced scout ships began to awaken. They emerged not with noise or fanfare, but with precision and calm. Each ship moved in perfect coordination, the product of years of planning, engineering, and practice. On Earth, in the underground command centers, the teams monitored every movement. Their faces were tense but focused, each individual fully aware of the stakes. Outside, the planet remained calm, the oceans, skies, and cities appearing unchanged to the casual observer. But in orbit and in hidden hangars, humanity's greatest secret was now coming alive. The fleet that had been concealed for generations was ready to meet the threat that the Ravagers had brought to their doorstep. The awakening of the hidden fleet was a marvel of engineering and human ingenuity. Ships that had been lying dormant for decades powered up their systems with flawless precision. Energy cores hummed quietly, shielding systems activated, and navigational controls calibrated with machine-like accuracy. It was a silent ballet of technology, each vessel moving as though it had a mind of its own, yet guided by human hands and human strategy. This fleet was not just a collection of ships. It was a symbol of humanity's patience, intelligence, and unity. Meanwhile, the Ravager scouts, unaware of what lay ahead, continued their slow advance through the outer solar system. They moved with the assumption that Earth was weak, insignificant, and unprepared. They had not anticipated the decades of observation, planning, and technological development that had taken place in secret. They did not know that the planet they intended to conquer had been waiting, watching, and preparing for exactly this moment. As the hidden fleet began to emerge, the first contact was carefully orchestrated. Scout vessels were detected, analyzed, and tracked with incredible precision. Earth's operators observed their speed, direction, and energy emissions, feeding this information into simulations to determine the best course of action. Every decision was calculated to minimize risk and maximize impact. The humans guiding the fleet understood that the initial engagement would set the tone for the entire conflict. Surprise, speed, and precision would be their greatest weapons. The first strike was not reckless. It was deliberate and controlled. Cloaked vessels moved into positions that allowed them to observe and, if necessary, intercept the scouts without revealing the full strength of the fleet. The goal was not only to defend, but to understand the enemy's tactics, testing their reactions while remaining largely invisible. Every maneuver was executed with care, ensuring that the humans maintained the advantage of surprise. The energy readings from the Ravager scouts began to fluctuate, as if sensing something unusual. They could not pinpoint the source of the anomaly, unable to comprehend the scale or sophistication of what they were observing. From their perspective, Earth remained a quiet world, its apparent weakness masking the lethal precision of the fleet, now moving to defend it. Every human involved in Project Horizon knew that the success of these initial engagements would shape the outcome of the entire conflict. As the first scouts came closer, the hidden fleet began to reveal just enough of its presence to test the enemy's response. Sensor readings were manipulated, energy emissions adjusted, and the scouts were lured into positions where they could be neutralized if necessary. The human operators worked tirelessly, their focus absolute. Every calculation, every adjustment, every observation was part of a larger strategy designed to protect Earth while gaining intelligence on the enemy's capabilities. The preparation of the fleet was extraordinary. Ships were designed for a variety of roles, each with specialized functions. Some were equipped for stealth reconnaissance, able to slip past enemy sensors and gather vital information. Others were armed for defensive engagements, their shields capable of withstanding attacks that could obliterate entire fleets. The largest vessels carried long-range weaponry, capable of striking with precision across vast distances. All of these ships, working together in coordinated maneuvers, formed a network of power that no one in the galaxy had anticipated. As the engagement with the scouts progressed, it became clear that humanity's strategy was working. The Ravagers' vessels, trained to expect weak resistance, were reacting with confusion and caution. They did not understand the scale, the coordination, or the technology that they were facing. Each failed attempt to detect or counter the hidden fleet reinforced the advantage that humans had carefully cultivated over decades. The enemy believed they were observing a minor world, unaware that they were stepping into a carefully constructed trap. On Earth, the human teams continued to monitor the unfolding events. Their work was both technical and deeply personal. Each operator, engineer, and analyst understood that they were protecting not only their planet, but their families, friends, and communities. The stakes were immense, yet there was a shared sense of pride and determination. Humanity had chosen patience over recklessness, observation over fear, and preparation over chaos. Now, all of these choices were converging into a single, decisive moment. The first scouts, finally realizing that Earth was not as defenseless as they had assumed, attempted to retreat. Yet the hidden fleet allowed this partially, gathering critical data and demonstrating control. Humans were learning how the enemy thought, how it moved, and how it reacted. Every detail would be used in the coming battles. This was not a reckless attack. It was an exercise in precision, observation, and strategy, designed to ensure that when the full confrontation arrived, humanity would be ready. The scale of the fleet's awakening was awe-inspiring. Ships of every size and type, coordinated with flawless timing. Energy fields shimmered across vast distances. Communication networks linked every vessel instantaneously, and weapon systems were prepared for deployment at a moment's notice. This was the culmination of decades of work, centuries of silent observation, and generations of human ingenuity. For the first time, the galaxy was about to witness the true capability of Earth. Despite the immense technological achievement, the human element remained central. Operators relied not only on machines, but also on their judgment, intuition, and experience. Each decision reflected not just strategy, but a deep understanding of human adaptability. While the Ravagers relied on sheer power and fear, humans used intelligence, coordination, and creativity. This combination made the fleet unpredictable, agile, and extraordinarily effective. The scouts, now aware of some hidden activity, sent signals back to the main Ravager fleet. These transmissions, however, contained only partial information. The enemy could not comprehend the full scale of Earth's preparedness. They could not anticipate the speed, strength, or coordination of the vessels they had underestimated. The humans had ensured that the first revelation of the fleet's presence would be controlled, deliberate, and overwhelming when the time came. As hours passed, the hidden fleet continued its awakening. Ships adjusted positions, shields were tested, and systems were calibrated. Every crew member understood their role, the timing of their maneuvers, and the importance of their actions. Attention was immense, but so was the confidence. Humans had waited for this moment for decades, and now they were finally ready to act. This careful awakening demonstrated a key truth. Technology alone could not guarantee survival. The human capacity to plan, adapt, and remain calm under pressure was just as important as the fleet's advanced capabilities. Operators made decisions in real time, adjusted tactics based on enemy behavior, and ensured that every element of the fleet functioned in harmony. This human intelligence transformed the fleet from a collection of ships into a unified, strategic force. By the time the first significant encounter with Ravager scouts occurred, Earth's hidden fleet was fully operational. The ships moved with precision, intelligence guided every maneuver, and the human operators maintained complete control. The initial confrontation, while brief, sent a clear message. Earth was not defenseless, and humanity would no longer remain hidden. The scouts, overwhelmed and confused, retreated to report what they had witnessed, unaware that their observations only scratched the surface of Earth's true strength. For the humans observing this first engagement, there was a quiet sense of accomplishment and resolve. The years of secrecy, patience, and preparation had paid off. Every engineer, scientist, and strategist understood that this was only the beginning. The war in the Orion Arm was far from over, but humanity had shifted from passive observer to active defender. The first steps had been taken, and the hidden fleet had demonstrated its power, precision, and intelligence. As the fleet continued its operations in the outer solar system, humans prepared for the larger battles to come. They studied the enemy's movements, refined their strategies, and ensured that every ship was ready for action. The awakening of the fleet had not only protected the planet, but had also provided invaluable intelligence on the Ravagers. Humanity was no longer a passive participant. It had become a force to be. After the first engagement with the scouts, humanity knew the real challenge was about to begin. The Ravagers were no longer just distant observers. They had received reports of unusual activity near the solar system. Even though they did not fully understand what they were up against, the main fleet began moving toward Earth with unprecedented speed and coordination. This was the moment the hidden Armada had been preparing for, the culmination of decades of planning, engineering, and training. Every human involved understood that what came next could decide the fate of the planet and potentially the entire Orion Arm. On Earth, the hidden command centers buzzed with controlled urgency. Screens displayed the positions of every fleet in the solar system, energy signatures of enemy ships, and predicted trajectories. Analysts and strategists worked side by side, adjusting plans based on the latest information. Every operator understood the stakes. Mistakes were not an option. The lives of billions depended on their ability to act with precision, calm, and confidence. The hidden fleet had been carefully designed to handle exactly this situation. Ships of all sizes moved into strategic positions, some cloaked and waiting in the shadows, others poised to defend the outer planets. The carriers held smaller, faster attack vessels, ready to deploy with speed and accuracy. Weapon systems were calibrated for long-range engagement. Defensive shields tested to withstand the strongest known attacks, and propulsion systems checked for instantaneous response. Every ship, every crew member, and every system was synchronized to act as one powerful, coordinated force as the Ravager fleet entered the outer reaches of the solar system. Their scouts detected more activity, though they still underestimated the scale of what they were observing. They assumed that Earth had only a few hidden vessels, not the massive, well-coordinated Armada now preparing to defend the planet. Their reports were fragmented and incomplete, yet they were enough to provoke caution. The Ravagers began to adjust their strategies, sending additional ships to scout and probe further. But every move played directly into humanity's plans. The first full-scale engagement occurred near the asteroid belt, where Earth's hidden vessels used the rocky terrain to their advantage. Cloaked ships moved silently between massive asteroids, creating false energy signals to confuse the enemy. When the Ravagers advanced, they encountered unexpected resistance. Human ships emerged suddenly, striking with precision before disappearing into the shadows. The enemy was taken aback. Their first impression of Earth as a weak, defenseless planet shattered in moments. The humans coordinating the battle understood that the key was not only to defend, but also to gather information. Each engagement provided critical data about the enemy's tactics, weaknesses, and reactions. Engineers monitored weapon effectiveness, shield performance, and fleet coordination. Analysts observed enemy movement patterns and energy emissions, using this knowledge to anticipate future attacks. Humans were learning faster than the Ravagers could adapt, turning every encounter into a strategic advantage. For the civilians on Earth, life continued as if nothing had changed. Families lived their daily routines, unaware of the massive, high-stakes battle unfolding in space above them. This contrast between normal life and the extraordinary efforts happening in secret highlighted the human aspect of the story. The planet's survival depended on ordinary humans, engineers, scientists, operators, and strategists who had dedicated their lives to preparation. Their focus, determination, and cooperation were as vital as the advanced technology at their disposal. The Ravagers attempted to regroup and attack in larger formations, but humanity was ready. Fleet commanders adjusted positions in real time, using advanced simulations to predict enemy movements. Cloaked vessels struck from unexpected angles, defensive ships intercepted incoming attacks, and communication networks ensured that every maneuver was coordinated perfectly. The humans' combination of intelligence, patience, and adaptability gave them an advantage the enemy had never anticipated. During the engagement, a series of coordinated strikes stunned the Ravagers. Small, agile vessels disabled key enemy ships, while larger carriers unleashed concentrated energy blasts from a distance. The attacks were precise, avoiding unnecessary destruction while neutralizing immediate threats. Every move demonstrated the intelligence and strategy behind humanity's fleet. The Ravagers, accustomed to fear and intimidation, faced a force that was calculated, clever, and capable of acting faster than they could respond. Despite the chaos of battle, the human teams remained calm and focused. Operators adjusted shields, recalibrated weapons, and communicated constantly to ensure that every ship acted as part of a larger strategy. Engineers monitored systems under extreme stress, ensuring that propulsion, energy, and communication networks functioned without interruption. Strategists observed the flow of the battle, directing resources and maneuvering ships with precision. The combination of human skill and advanced technology created a force greater than the sum of its parts. As the battle progressed, the Ravagers began to realize that they had underestimated Earth. Their attacks became more cautious, and their formations less aggressive. The humans had turned what could have been a desperate defense into a controlled engagement, using strategy and intelligence to shape the outcome. Every engagement not only protected the planet, but also weakened the enemy's morale and disrupted their coordination. In the midst of this intense conflict, humanity's preparation and planning were evident. Every ship knew its role, every crew member understood their responsibilities, and every decision was based on precise calculations and experience. Even when unexpected challenges arose, humans adapted quickly, finding solutions and maintaining control. The ability to think creatively, make rapid adjustments, and work together under pressure gave Earth an advantage the Ravagers could not match. The turning point came near the outer gas giants, where the hidden fleet used gravity wells, asteroid fields, and complex maneuvers to trap enemy ships. Cloaked vessels created decoys, forcing the Ravagers to divert resources to ineffective targets. Human ships emerged from the shadows to strike key enemy positions, crippling vessels and disrupting formations. The enemy, overwhelmed and confused, began to retreat in disarray. Humanity's hidden armada had turned the tide of the battle in a way no one could have predicted. On Earth, the teams in command centers watched the outcomes in real time, analyzing every move and adjusting strategies accordingly. Engineers noted the performance of weapons and shields. Strategists reviewed the effectiveness of maneuvers, and operators monitored enemy responses. The battle became a learning experience as much as a defensive engagement, preparing humanity for the larger challenges still to come. The impact of this victory extended beyond immediate defense. Word of Earth's fleet, though still limited in reach, began to ripple through neighboring systems. Other civilizations that had been threatened or destroyed by the Ravagers took notice. They saw for the first time that there was a planet capable of standing up to the most feared force in the Orion arm. Humanity's success became a symbol of hope, demonstrating that preparation, intelligence, and courage could overcome even the most terrifying adversaries. Despite the victory, humans remained focused. The battle had shown them the enemy's strengths and weaknesses, but it had also reminded them that the conflict was far from over. Every system in the fleet was inspected, weapons recalibrated, and strategies refined. Lessons from the engagement were incorporated into future plans, ensuring that humanity would be even more prepared for the next confrontation. The Ravagers, recovering from the unexpected setback, began to reassess their approach. They had assumed they were facing a weak, defenseless world, but now they realized that Earth had capabilities far beyond their expectations. Their fleets would need to adjust, rethink tactics, and account for an enemy that combined advanced technology with intelligence, strategy, and determination. The hidden fleet had not only defended the planet, but also forced the enemy to respect humanity in a way no one had imagined. For the humans coordinating the fleet, the sense of responsibility was immense, but so was the determination. They knew that the war was far from over, yet they also understood that this engagement had demonstrated Earth's potential. The planet had moved from being a passive observer to an active force, capable of influencing the course of the conflict. The hidden fleet, once a secret, had proven its value in the most dramatic way possible. As the battle subsided, the hidden fleet repositioned itself, maintaining a state of readiness. Every ship was prepared for further engagements, every crew member trained for the challenges ahead, and every operator ready to act at a moment's notice. Humanity had not only defended its home, but had also shown that careful preparation, strategic thinking, and unity could overcome even the most terrifying threats. The first victory in the Orion Arm was just the beginning. Humans had learned the value of patience, observation, and preparation. They had demonstrated that intelligence, strategy, and courage could rival sheer power. And most importantly, they had shown that a civilization once assumed to be weak and invisible could rise to defend itself in a way that would change the course of the war. The Orion Arm had never seen a display like it. After years of war, devastation, and fear, the galaxy suddenly became aware of a hidden force it had underestimated. Earth, the hidden fleet, once a silent guardian of the planet, had fully revealed itself in controlled, precise actions. And now the stage was set for the final confrontation. Humanity was no longer merely defending its home. It was poised to strike decisively, changing the balance of power in a conflict that had claimed countless lives and destroyed entire star systems. The Ravagers, learning of Earth's fleet through intercepted signals and scattered reports from scouts, were both cautious and angry. Their previous assumption that Earth was weak and defenseless had been shattered. Now, they approached not with overconfidence, but with careful strategy, deploying multiple wings of their fleet to encircle the planet. Their intent was clear: neutralize this new threat before it could grow. Yet they did not fully understand the scale, intelligence, or determination of the force they faced. Earth's hidden command centers were tense but focused. Operators monitored the incoming fleets, analyzing every ship's energy signature, speed, and formation. Engineers verified the integrity of shields and weapon systems, ensuring that even under sustained attacks, the fleet could respond with precision. Strategists ran continuous simulations, adjusting tactics in real time to counter the enemy's moves. Every decision was deliberate, calculated, and coordinated. The humans knew that the success of the battle depended on unity, timing, and absolute control. From the surface of Earth, life continued as normal, a stark contrast to the titanic struggle unfolding above. Children played, people went about their daily routines, and the world appeared untouched by the horrors of war. This normalcy was humanity's secret strength, the ability to protect billions of lives, while engaging in a war of unimaginable scale. The people in the command centers, engineers in hidden facilities, and pilots of cloaked vessels carried the hopes of the planet in every choice they made. The first wave of the Ravager fleet entered the outer edges of the solar system, moving carefully and attempting to test Earth's defenses. Small strike teams scanned for anomalies, energy fluctuations, or hidden vessels. But every probe was met with subtle countermeasures: energy distortions that hid true positions, false signals that created decoys, and cloaked ships that moved unseen in the shadows. The enemy could not locate the true strength of the fleet, and every misstep they took played directly into humanity's hands. When the first real engagement began, it was unlike any battle the galaxy had seen. Earth's vessels moved with astonishing coordination, striking at enemy positions with precision before fading back into the shadows. Cloaked destroyers disabled key enemy systems. Carriers launched small, agile craft that harassed and disrupted formations, and energy shields absorbed attacks that would have destroyed lesser ships. The Ravagers, though technologically superior in raw firepower, were unprepared for this combination of strategy, intelligence, and human adaptability. Every operator and crew member felt the weight of the moment. Years of preparation, decades of study, and countless simulations culminated in this battle. Engineers worked frantically to monitor energy outputs, adjust propulsion systems, and maintain communications. Strategists directed maneuvers in real time, anticipating enemy reactions and adapting instantaneously. The human element, intuition, quick thinking, and creativity proved just as powerful as the fleet's advanced technology. The battle escalated rapidly. Ravager ships, frustrated by failed attacks and invisible adversaries, began to concentrate forces in larger formations. But Earth's fleet anticipated every move. Cloaked vessels created false energy trails to draw enemy fire, while hidden carriers deployed attack craft to strike from unexpected angles. Large capital ships unleashed devastating energy blasts at key points, crippling enemy formations. Every strike was deliberate, every movement planned, and every result calculated to maximize impact while minimizing risk. Despite the intensity, humans remained calm and focused. There were no rash decisions, no panic, no wasteful displays of force. Every move was part of a larger strategy aimed at both defense and the gradual dismantling of the enemy's cohesion. The Ravagers, though formidable, were beginning to experience the effects of a calculated and relentless human strategy. Their confidence faltered as they realized they were facing an opponent who did not merely react but anticipated, adapted, and executed with precision. In the midst of the battle, Earth's fleet began a series of coordinated maneuvers that would become legendary. Cloaked carriers moved behind enemy lines, launching strikes that disrupted communications and disabled propulsion systems. Agile attack vessels targeted energy cores and weapon nodes, rendering key Ravager ships immobile. Larger vessels maintained defensive positions, shielding weaker craft and directing energy flows to critical areas. The combination of stealth, strategy, and precise firepower created chaos in the enemy ranks, leaving them disoriented and vulnerable. For the humans orchestrating the defense, every victory was measured not in destruction, but in survival, control, and the disruption of the enemy's strategy. Engineers monitored every shield fluctuation, weapons output, and system integrity. Operators tracked enemy reactions, relaying information instantly to commanders and pilots. Strategists refined tactics with every engagement, ensuring that Earth's forces maintained the advantage throughout the battle. The planet's defense was as much a product of human coordination and intelligence as it was of advanced technology. As the battle raged, the Ravagers attempted desperate measures. They deployed heavy assault ships designed to overwhelm defenses, launched high-energy beams intended to disable multiple vessels at once, and attempted to encircle the fleet entirely. Yet humanity had anticipated these moves. Cloaked ships appeared where they were least expected. Energy shields absorbed the heaviest attacks, and attack craft disabled critical nodes before the enemy could exploit them. Every response was precise, deliberate, and devastatingly effective. The tide of the battle began to turn decisively. Ravager formations broke under coordinated strikes. Key vessels were disabled or destroyed, and morale faltered as the realization sank in. Earth was not a passive, weak world. The hidden fleet had not only defended the planet, but had taken the fight to the enemy, demonstrating a combination of strategy, intelligence, and courage that no one in the galaxy had anticipated. Humanity's patience, preparation, and unity had paid off. Even as the engagement continued, Earth's teams focused on long-term strategy. The fleet remained ready for follow-up attacks. Systems were continuously recalibrated, and intelligence gathered during the battle was analyzed in real time. Operators ensured that every vessel could act immediately, that every maneuver was coordinated, and that the planet itself remained protected. This comprehensive approach demonstrated that humanity's victory was not just a momentary success, but a foundation for future dominance in the conflict. The Ravagers, realizing the depth of the threat, attempted a final, concentrated assault. Large formations moved in a coordinated strike, aiming to overwhelm the fleet with sheer numbers. But humans had prepared for this. Cloaked carriers and destroyers executed diversionary tactics, creating confusion and forcing the enemy to split forces. Attack craft struck critical points simultaneously, crippling weapon systems, engines, and communications. Energy shields absorbed waves of destructive fire, maintaining fleet cohesion. In the end, the assault failed, leaving the Ravagers weakened, disoriented, And in retreat, that victory did not come without cost. Even the most advanced technology and careful planning could not prevent every loss. Some vessels sustained damage, some systems required repair, and operators felt the emotional weight of the battle. Yet these challenges were small compared to the magnitude of the achievement. Earth had faced one of the most feared civilizations in the galaxy, and had not only survived, but emerged strategically stronger. Humanity had proven its ingenuity, coordination, and courage in a way that would resonate across the Orion arm dot as the battle concluded. The hidden fleet repositioned to maintain vigilance. The Ravagers, humbled and cautious, retreated to regroup. Earth's fleet, though victorious, remained alert, ready for any counterattack. Engineers conducted repairs, strategists analyzed the battle's outcomes, and operators prepared for future engagements. The planet's defense was intact, the fleet operational, and humanity's place in the galaxy secured. This decisive victory sent ripples through neighboring star systems. Other civilizations, previously intimidated or neutralized by the Ravagers, took notice. Earth was no longer a quiet, insignificant world. It had demonstrated that patience, preparation, intelligence, and courage could challenge even the most powerful enemies. Humanity had risen from observer to active participant, changing the dynamics of war in the Orion arm. On Earth, life continued as usual, a testament to the planet's resilience and the secrecy of its operations. Yet beneath the surface, humans knew that the galaxy had changed. The hidden fleet had revealed its power, and the world had proven that careful preparation, unity, and strategic intelligence could overcome even the most fearsome adversaries. The planet that had once been ignored, underestimated, and dismissed was now a force to be reckoned.